Hi there, it's the Common Magician, Carl Irwin. Good to see you again. This is not going to be the beginning of Mentalism Mondays. By the time many of you watch this, it's already going to be Tuesday. But today, late this afternoon, I had been playing around with some ideas, and also I wanted to cover a few things a little bit more in depth after I did my everyday carry video just recently. I got a few questions about one thing in particular related to the wallet, and I want to go over that a little bit more in depth. I think it's worth investigating and at least demonstrating with a little bit more detail what I do, because it probably would be useful to those of you who really want to carry a real wallet. You want to carry your wallet and you want to be able to use it for some basic kinds of mentalism as a gimmick. So we'll look at that. But before we do that, I wanted to show you something else I was thinking about today. It just kind of, I was sitting there looking at something that I carry all the time, not all the time, but most of the time, that I mentioned in that video. And I wanted to kind of one-up my use of it here. It is, I carry a pen, this Bic pen, and I talked about what I use it for in that video. I use it for the misled Timothy Wink trick, misled, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But I did want to show you this because I was thinking about it. And what we'll do is we'll just take the pen and we'll set it here. If you watch closely, okay, so this is a psychokinetic pen. This is the pen I use for misled, and I want to just quickly touch on that again. So misled, the Timothy Wink trick, uses a number 2 pencil, and what I was finding early last spring, I wanted to do this trick again, and I was finding I couldn't justify having a number 2 pencil most of the time. So no one goes around with a number 2 pencil. To ring in a wooden pencil is very fishy in and of itself. So I also didn't want to use a pen like the typical kinds of magic-y, stealth pen, B-2 bomber kind of, these gimmicks that have been out for years now, 20 years. I didn't want to use one of those. I wanted something like this. It was a pen that everybody knows, that everybody has seen before, and I wanted a white pen. So that kind of thing where there's nothing hidden. There's nothing hidden there. It can be passed out and examined and looked at, and it's just a pen. I wanted to use that, and I could justify it. And I could make it look clean too, just by taking the cap off. I could just use the pen part of it to do everything. And it would look super fair and clean as using the wooden pencil. Now granted, the pencil is a better effect because it's a wooden pencil, it's not a piece of man-made stuff. But I wanted to be able to do the trick, and this was the best way I could do it without raising eyebrows. So I started doing that. I was looking at this thing, and I remembered the Banachek gimmick. Now I never had one. I'd seen them years ago. I don't think these have been really available for a very long time. It may be as much as 8 to 10 years or so since this has been in stock anywhere. They probably aren't making them. They probably won't make them again. I don't know. It may have just kind of run its course, this sort of idea. There are other pens out there on the market that you can get that are extremely expensive. I mean, there's $100 pens that do essentially what I just did. And they're complex machines, and they're expensive to make, or they're high priced. Maybe they're just overpriced. But this idea was a pretty reasonably priced, $10 to $20 kind of thing. And I never bought one, but I remembered Banachek in one of his videos. I think it was the Psi series, where the 4th video, a DVD, where he's talking about telekinesis, psychokinesis, telekinesis, moving objects, bending spoons and forks and stuff like that. And he does this trick. I think it's the last trick he did, And he explains it in the explanation just by saying, it's this gimmick pen, I sell it, I make these, you can get it. But he very quickly and vaguely says what makes it work. He just says it, and I'm not going to say it here because I'm not going to just give it away. It's not mine, right? But he does say what it is, even though it's something you have to buy. And I remembered that explanation, and knowing I was going to buy one, but knowing what the explanation was and seeing that you can't get them anymore, I thought, you know what? I bet you I can make that. I bet you I can make that. So I got to thinking, and I thought about the magic ingredient, the thing that he mentioned in general that made it work. And I tried two things. One of them didn't work that well. It worked, but not that well. And then I did it again. I tried it again, and I found this is the magic ingredient here. So I'll show you. If you know this and you know how it works, this is really just for you, okay? So if you had one of these and it's gone, it doesn't work anymore, you lost it, or it's broken, and you can't get it, or if you've seen his lectures where he talks about this, where he says what the mechanism is that makes it work, what is the gimmick, this is what I discovered. This works great. That's it. So if you know, you know. Okay, so that's it right there. This is motor oil. Okay, so just motor oil, just regular synthetic motor oil. So that is essentially how I made this work. But there's other things to it, obviously. I mean, it took some cutting and gluing and things like that to make it work. But this is still the same pen that I used for the misled, and it really can be examined. It does write for now. Before it was just a Bic pen, but it does write for now. It's not going to very long. Eventually, this won't write anymore. And I believe the Banachek gimmick did not write. The one that you bought, you got that, and then you got another pen, and it said so in the ad copy. So you just got two. You got a regular one, and then you got the gimmick. So it is a gimmick that really only does that. But I'm going to use mine not only for that, but also for my misled. And I'm glad I investigated that this afternoon, and I'm really happy with what I came up with. So anyway, psychokinetic pen. If you never got one, or if you had one and you know what I'm talking about, that's the magic ingredient. So anyway, I wanted to share that today. I thought it was interesting and maybe useful to some of you out there. Another thing we're going to look at here is the wallet. So I got some questions about the wallet related to, I explained that there's a peak in the wallet. So it's my regular wallet, and I created a peak in it. And I also mentioned that I had taken another wallet, and I haven't really put this one through paces. This is completely empty. It's an older wallet that I had. It's in great shape. I actually took some black wax shoe polish, and I polished it up, and it's a really, really good looking. I don't know, I might carry it. It's got a lot of pockets in it, and it does a lot more. It is a little bit more narrow than this brown one. That's why I decided to just stick with the brown one. I was able to hide things a little bit better in the brown one, and I like tan. But anyway, I have two versions of this, and this has peaks in every single pocket has peaks, every single one. And I mentioned that the peaks are from the billfold. That's not a new idea. That idea is around in some other wallets. And I'm not replicating exactly what some of those other wallets are doing. It's just my kind of vision of that concept. So I want to demonstrate it for you first, and also talk about another thing that I was experimenting with that I think will be useful. I've got a marker here, and I've got some cards, just some like playing cards, and they're blanks. These are not blanks. So what I did is I took these and I made some simple shapes on them, because you're not here to do it yourself. I just made several of them. So there's four. There's a star, there's a triangle, there's a circle, and a square. So this really could be most anything, although if you're going to be doing the pink, the peak, you probably want to be using something that is relatively simple. You don't want them writing or drawing a complex picture or writing a long word or something like that. Certainly not small for this kind of peak, because it is a little bit limited in range of vision. So you want to probably explain nice and big right in the middle. Go ahead and draw a simple shape, you know, that kind of thing, or a simple word, or from a choice of short words, right? Nice and big. Go ahead and write the word on there. One justification is I want you to write this down. I want you to draw this so that you can't change your mind on me. We want this to be fair, and I want to be able to prove that I was able to do what I can do without you tricking me. You know, you're worried about me tricking you. I don't want you to pull a fast one on me. So the justification for writing something down can be that alone. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shuffle these. And this is fair. I really don't know what it is. The trick is not in the shuffle. I really don't know which one is which right now. Now I can see the monitor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look away and I'm going to show you what you decided to draw. And you can take a look at it as I look away. So take a look and get a good look at what that is. Okay, so you see what your drawing is. And we're just going to place it inside of the wallet for safekeeping, so we can come back to that later. And you can see that it is secure in there inside the wallet, and I'm just going to have you hold on to the wallet. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions. I don't want you to answer them out loud. I want you to just look at me, okay? Don't say out loud, don't say anything, but I'm going to read your gestures, your eyes, the dilation of your pupils, any small shifts in your body language, the micro movements that you make to determine what it is that you decided to draw. What is it that you're thinking of? So think about what you drew on that, and I'll ask you some questions. So does your shape have 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines? It's got a very small number of lines I can see. Does it have any sharp points on it? Sharp points? Any sorts of tips? Does it have an odd number or even number? I'm getting that it doesn't have any corners at all. I don't think, well, does it? Let me count. So 1 corner, 2 corner, 3 corner, 4 corner, 5. 4 corners. You drew a square. You drew a square. Let me see here. So we can look and see what you drew, and indeed, you drew a square. So obviously everything there is totally bogus. It's all just a premise for the trick. So how do you peak this, right? How does this work? So let me show you a couple ways that this is done. There's the very direct way. Now this is one option. This wallet has a peak for every single one. I could put something in here. Now it would need to be something where you know, like a business card or something that's a little bit more stout. So if it was in the middle, it would be down inside of it that I could peek. And the peek is happening from the billfold. So I can look in here and I can actually see what I've done. I'll show you in this one because it's a little bit better. What I've done is I've actually cut, you can see inside the billfold there is a centerpiece. So you put money in the back and then you can put money here. There's just a window. So I've cut through all the layers of fabric so that I can see through to the pocket. So on this pocket, which is a very large pocket, and it's the same on this one, this pocket. I believe actually what this pocket was meant for on both is that there was an ID little flap that went on there that would stick down in there. And it's great for a playing card size card because it completely covers it. But what you do is you put it in there, and if you have a justification to look inside the billfold, you can get a glimpse of that quite quickly. So one justification could be that you take out some cards, you have them draw something, you slide it in there very fairly, and then in the action of taking these blank cards and putting them into the billfold, you can get a quick peek. So what you probably want to do is pinch it like this to hold it tight so you don't get, no one can accuse you of looking at it, right? Of trying to peek down inside of the actual pocket. pinch it and then slide these in, get your glimpse very quickly, and then close it up casually. I didn't want to have to do that, but that is what you can do. So I came up with something completely different. And this is how mine works. You slide it in, and without ever opening up the billfold, I can just show that it's in there securely, and then right away I can close it up because I have a very special piece of currency in here. You can see I've got, pull out my bill. I've got a $10 bill inside here, and what looks to be a normal $10 bill is actually a prop piece of money. This is not a real 10. I showed you my prop money earlier. And on the one side, I have taped to it a polished piece of tin. This is a mirror. Now, it's not a very good mirror from a distance, but you can see that at a very close proximity, I can see quite perfectly with great detail what is on a card. So it's just a polished piece of tin. It's a flat mirror. You can get high polish mirror cardstock, I believe, or even magnet type mirrors that are very, very high quality mirrors at a craft store or something like that. But just some kind of shiner, and I have it taped to this one side. And the idea there is that I could fold this up and just keep it in there, and I could take it out, and there'd be nothing suspicious. I can cover it, and it looks like it belongs. But what I have here is I have it sitting so that it is sitting right next to that window. So whenever I place the card in there and I show that it's in there securely, without looking directly into the billfold, I can open it up and look down at the mirror, and I see the direct reflection of it. So you can see what I see. This is what I'm looking at. You can see very easily from you can see from an overhead kind of view. I know what it is, especially if it's a simple sort of shape. So one option is don't have them write it at all. You could just make some ESP cards or something like that. If you're really into the mentalism kind of thing, you probably would have cards like that anyway, but you could make, the wavy lines and the star and all that kind of stuff. And you could use those and have them pick one or think of one and place it into the wallet, for safekeeping. I like to use the justification the few times that I do mentalism where I have someone write something down. I always justify it by saying, this is so that you don't pull a fast one on me, so that I can prove that I've done this properly. Because if I just try to read your mind, you may just deny it or change your mind or something like that. So, and I actually perform for a lot of people that would do that. So you probably do too if you do for family and friends. But anyway, that is the idea there. Now, I want to show you too, this doesn't just have to work with something like that. This works great for playing cards. So you could take a deck of playing cards, and you could have someone take the cards and take out any card they're thinking of. Have them think of a card and then take it out, that one out, and then set the deck down, right? And you could really put a different premise on this. You could say, you could have them shuffle the cards. This might be a good trick. I'm making this up. Have them shuffle the cards and then say, I'm going to memorize the cards. You go through and you do the memorization thing. Quick tip from Benjamin Earl, that when you're pretending to memorize, don't try to memorize, but actually think the names of the cards as you're going through, because it gives you the impression of processing information. So as you're going through, you want to be thinking, Queen of Hearts, Four of Spades, Seven of Hearts, every fourth or fifth card. Not that you're actually memorizing it, but actually be doing something, some real thinking, because it sells the reality of it. So anyway, tip from him. So you go through as if you're memorizing, and then say, I want you to think of any card. I want you to go through, now don't change the order, but I want you to go through and I want you to take that card out. I won't look. So they'll take that card out. Once they take the card out that they have, say, now what we're going to do is we're going to put it in safekeeping so that you can't change your mind on me. Okay, so I've got my wallet here. I just want to place it into my wallet. What you do is you take the card and then lift up on the pocket so that the billfold drops open back behind. And then what you do is you put in this index. This is the far index, inside index. And when that goes in first, you actually grab a glimpse of the name of the card just as it goes in. So just like that, I can see what it is, and then I can call it out. If your shiner is big enough, like this one is, it's very, very easy. Just slip it in, you see it, and then you're ready to rock and roll. You set it in there, set it aside, and then you can go on. And no one can really accuse you of peeking. There's no way from these angles in this situation, if you're fluid with your motion, that anybody would know that you got a glimpse of that card. So anyway, obviously the close to this is, once you've done that, you take the cards back. This is like pseudo-believable, right? That you actually memorize the cards. You could look through them and say, you know, where's the 2 of diamonds? You took out the 2 of diamonds, and then you go back, and sure enough, there it is. So that's a possibility. So playing cards can fit into a pocket that size on a bifold wallet. Just cut the opening up, have a justification to look in there, or use a shiner, and you have a really solid pink and a peak. I think it's the second time I said that. You have a really solid peak in a regular, everyday, normal carry wallet that keeps all of your normal stuff in it. So other ideas for something like that, because the window is open, you could potentially write on it. If you have a thumb writer, I haven't tried this, but you could potentially maybe cross out something. If you wrote down an idea, make it Banachek Day. One of his things is that he has some numbers that he writes down. And in his he has someone strike through a number, okay? And then on the back of the card, he has written that number that they struck out, you know, that they put a line through, something like that. Same idea. You could have a card with numbers on it. And then you could take the card and say, okay, I'm going to make a prediction. And then you could, you know, do something, pretend as if you're striking one out, set it safely, said, I'm going to put this in here for safekeeping, and then hold it like this with your thumb writer or a Swami gimmick, a nail writer or something, down in there, and you could very easily get your bearings, and right as you're going to take it out, you could put the strike through as you pick up the card and pass it out. And it would be a dead-on prediction, no equivoque, no outs, just a absolute direct kind of thing. So maybe thumb writing, you could affix a sticker to something that's in there because you have that access. So there's a lot of things you could do. Just be careful not to make the effect too perfect, such as to give away the idea that you had access to the card inside. So use the window as a cover to accomplish something else, maybe something that is less apparent, like making a prediction and drawing something on it, putting it in safekeeping, thumb writing, whatever. Okay, but anyway, that's my idea for the peak window in your regular wallet. For those of you that know this psychokinetic pen, Banachek's thing, you know, they're not available, haven't been available for a while, but if you know how it works and you've had one, or you've heard his explanation, motor oil seems to be the thing that does it. So anyway, good luck with that, and happy magicking.